Tony Costello's was not a name she had ever expected to hear in these offices. He was big money, style, and flash, one of the top defense attorneys in the Twin Cities, and rapidly making a name for himself on a larger scale. Which was, of course, what he would be doing with Garrett Wright, soaking up publicity like a sponge, posing for the cameras, and preaching his propaganda of justice for the common man. That was why he had taken Garrett Wright's case, Ellen told herself. It had nothing to do with the fact that she was the prosecutor, and it certainly had nothing to do with the fact that they had once been lovers. Garrett Wright couldn't have known anything about her past with Tony Costello. It was just a coincidence that he had chosen the one defense attorney in the state who knew her better than any other, the one who had slipped under her guard and stabbed her in the back. Even as she tried to placate herself, the tide of the uneasiness that had been with her since Monday night rose a little higher inside her. "We've calculated all the moves, all the options, all the possibilities," Garrett Wright had whispered to Megan. "We can't lose." "We can't lose," Anthony Costello said, his voice clear and strong, his eyes on the network cameras. "Dr. Wright is an innocent man, wrongfully accused and wrongfully imprisoned." Shutters clicked. Motor drives whirred. Cameras loved his face, square, rugged, utterly masculine, perpetually tanned. His eyes were the color of espresso, set deep beneath the ledge of his brow. He had long ago perfected a piercing stare that could make witnesses crumble and jurors sway. He stood on the front steps of the Campion Sons of Norway Hall, the wind ruffling his jet-black hair. The cameras had to shoot up to get him, an angle that made him look taller than 5'10", and emphasized the solid squareness of his build and the excellent hand-tailored cut of his black wool topcoat. He would have preferred to make his first statements to the press regarding his new client in front of the Park County Courthouse, because he liked the symbolism of storming the halls of justice. But the press was in Campion, covering the second child abduction, so he had gone with Plan B. It was the mark of a good defense attorney to be flexible, to be adaptable. He had to be able to shift on the run, think on his feet. He had begun to formulate a strategy for the defense the moment he had accepted Garrett Wright as a client. He wanted to strike hard and fast at the media, grab their attention, and keep it on him. The kidnapping of Dustin Holloman was a terrible tragedy, but Costello had also seen it immediately as the opportunity it was. Naturally, he felt sympathy for the family, in the way one might feel sympathy for fictional characters in a movie. He couldn't allow the feeling to become more personal than that. It was essential for him to put their tragedy in a perspective that would potentially be of some benefit to his client. "My client sits in jail, his reputation suffering more with every passing hour, while a madman stalks the children of Park County," he said. "The investigation of the kidnapping in Deer Lake was mishandled from the start. As a result, there have been needless deaths. An innocent man has been incarcerated, and now another family has been torn apart." The reporters clamored for his attention, barking out questions, thrusting microphones up at him. He gave the answer he wanted to give, not caring whether the question had been asked. "I'm here in Park County to see that justice will be done." Soundbite extraordinaire. "I'm here in Campion as an emissary for my client to offer his deepest concern to the family of little Dustin Holloman. I know Dr. Wright would want me to extend a personal plea to the kidnappers to return Dustin unharmed." He knew no such thing, of course. He had yet to speak directly to Garrett Wright. It was unlikely Wright had even heard about the kidnapping. For all Costello knew, Wright was a cold-hearted son of a bitch who wouldn't have felt a second's pity if all the children in Campion were torn from their families and carted off to concentration camps. It didn't matter. As of this moment, the press would look upon his client as a compassionate man, with a deep, abiding respect for families, for the law, for America. "Who do you blame for botching the Kirkwood investigation?" He frowned in the general direction of the reporter who had shouted the question.